I'm your host, Sarah Baus, and welcome to Attainable Podcast. Hi guys, welcome to the Attainable Podcast. My name is Sarah. I'm your host, and I am incredibly happy that you're here. For those of you on Spotify who are used to watching the video, no video today because I feel like shit. Hopefully you can't hear it in my voice. I don't think it's that bad, but getting back from traveling, and if you've been following my TikTok or my Instagram, I've been in New York, which is kind of what we're going to be talking about today a little bit. And just like the travel, and I've also been staying up late. Honestly, I think it's been like an anxiety thing. I don't go to bed late, but I've been going to bed at like 2 or 3 in the morning. Crazy. So we're going to try and reset that. I don't know if you guys have ever kind of been in like that weird phase, I guess, of just like staying up late, and especially with traveling, like my routine's really off, and I think my body is just like, I'm done. I'm over it. We're mama, we're good. We're out. You are out of commission. So I haven't been feeling my absolute best. So no video today. But I am super excited to talk to you guys. I'm super excited to be connecting with you and give you guys the inside scoop on the new job. Specifically, like, we're going to be talking about money. Okay. Because this is with this new job, I am becoming a W-2 employee. And if you basically, that just means like I am working for a company, not working for myself. Therefore, I'm getting a paycheck, meaning I am no longer going to be solely responsible for my income. As a freelancer, as a business owner, you are solely, responsible for your income and sometimes other people's income as well. And that type of pressure is undescribable, absolutely undescribable. The amount of times I have cried, just, and I'm not like, freelancing and being your own business owner, so many privileges come with that, and I did love it. I do love it because I still own my own business. I'm still offering services, but man, it's been a interesting thing watching myself adjust and my mindset adjust to having a steady paycheck and having security like that I have not felt in a long time. So I'm going to go into some detail on getting the job, and then something kind of funny that I did between like not quitting the business, but sort of shutting that piece of the business down and then starting my new job. But first, I wanted to give you guys the inside scoop on the new job. So several weeks ago, I applied for a job on LinkedIn. I wasn't looking for a job. I was actually looking for new clients. And my mentor informed me like a really good way to find clients is to look for jobs that are like describe what you do and the services that you offer. You interview and you pitch yourself as a 1099 employee. A lot of times that can be really beneficial for you and for the company because they don't have to provide you with insurance or company benefits or things like that. But your income, and they don't have to pay for taxes on your head. Of course, your income kind of makes up for those taxes. But anyway, so that was the plan. I was like looking for new clients. It was interesting because this was coming at a time when I had lost a client and I had budget cuts for another client, and things just were feeling, I'll say, I was feeling very insecure. I was feeling very much like a little bit, I don't want to say the word desperate, but kind of like I needed desperate action. I needed to figure something out because my income was not where I felt very comfortable. So I applied for this job. And when I was looking at LinkedIn and I read this job, it described me perfectly. And it was for a TikTok community manager, described doing TikTok strategy, some TikTok creation. What else? Like doing some management of creators. I mean, it was just super interesting. And it was so up my alley. So I applied and didn't really think anything of it until I got an email from their HR manager saying that she wanted to have a chat with me. Did not say interview. Of course, I treated it as an interview. But of course, I wasn't really going in, it's not like I was nervous or anything, or in my head, this was still just a chit chat with a potential client, and I might go through the interview process for them and then pitch myself as a 1099. Like I felt like I had, that ball was sort of in my court. So I had this interview, or this chat at the time, and she informed me that that was interview one of a 4-part interview process. I was like, okay, cool. And but we had a great chat. I asked them a lot of questions, and we kind of went on from there. Well, I made it to round two, and at this point, I was like, oh wow, like this is progressing. Okay, still not even considering this in a serious way. I hadn't even told Joseph about this job yet, just because I didn't think anything of it. Well, then I go, and the second interview was actually an interview with 2 other associates. So I met with who is my now manager, and then another employee who is sort of like a colleague and a mentor to me now, which is really, really cool. But anyway, so I chatted with them, and during this interview, I started to realize that this company was a little bit different. And I was very, very hesitant, meaning I had no intention of going to work for somebody or in a like W-2 setting or something like that, because I had been burned quite badly by a client who, though it was a freelance relationship, we worked as a team of contractors under her. So very much just like any company with employees, but we were all contractors. And that relationship went into flames, and I was very badly burned from that. And a lot of the things that that client preached, and said, that she dreamed about and wanted to build a company of uh gosh of basically a company of dreamers, making a workplace that is different, where people can be themselves and people can be vulnerable, and um having kind of a work family and work life balance, and having flexibility in your schedule, and being able to live your life and living before work, and that kind of thing. And that was not true. And so that was kind of the mindset that I was coming to this interview with. And it was clear that this company was, that's the mentality and the values that they held. And even more so, they really preach flexibility and like respect for the employee, and um, sort of autonomy for each person, and really great employee benefits, and a healthy and happy work life, and like stuff like that. And so when I heard that, I was like, I'm skeptical. So the second interview, I chatted with them, and I asked them a ton of questions. I grilled them because at this point I sort of had an inkling. I was like, okay, this might actually go somewhere, and if I'm going to work with these people, I need to know like where their heart is at actually. Um, and it's interesting going into an interview where you don't feel um like you're not like right out of college. Any interview I was going to, I was super nervous. I felt like the kind of sort of inferior coming in, really asking for this job, and like the power was in their hands and not mine. Coming in, having worked for myself several years later, being a little bit more mature, and then in this position, I was not nervous and felt very much a different sort of mentality of, I'm also interviewing you as the employer and seeing if this is a place that I want to be, a place that I want to work. And I, just as you have high standards for your employees, I have very high standards for the places that and the people that I work with. So going in, and I was asking them a ton of questions, and they were answering them flawlessly. And I got off of that interview realizing, oh, this might be something that I might consider. This is, you know, I have toyed with the idea of if I would ever go back to a W-2 job, and I said it would have to be the perfect situation. I would have to be able to maintain the flexibility that I do now, as a freelancer, I would have to be challenged. I'd have to really love the work that I'm doing. I would have to have a team that really supported me, and upper like management executives that really supported me. And I had very high standards for wherever I might end up if I were going to leave the freelancer world. And I got off this interview and I thought, this might actually be the place. So at this point, I told Joseph, and Joseph has always been super, super supportive. And I've had moments if any of you have worked for yourself or have been business owners or freelancers or anything like that, like you can probably relate to, there have definitely been moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, I should literally just, everything should crash and burn. I should give up and I should just go get a job, like any job. And he was never supportive of that. He would always pull me out of that hole and be like, you're not getting another job. Like if that's what you think would make you happy, then that's a different question. But if you are doubting yourself, like, no, we're always going to get back up. And so I was a little nervous to tell him about this, that I was actually considering, but he was super excited. And when I laid everything out for him, he, like me, was skeptical about going to a W-2 sort of job. And he was like, no, this sounds different. I was like, I know. So then I did get accepted to round 3. Obviously I'm, here, but the round 3 of the interviews was a trial. So I had a project where I did a TikTok audit on their TikTok, as well as a full 30-day TikTok strategy for a brand. And I had so much fun with this project, and I put my heart in it. And by the time I was done, I was like, I want this job so bad. I was at the point where I was like, I want this job so bad. And if I don't get this job, I told Joseph, I was like, if I don't get this job, we will be in mourning. I will need 2 weeks at least to get over this, because everything was lining up perfectly. And I made a couple TikToks about it. And so you guys, I'm not going to necessarily open up about what had happened to me, and but from losing clients and then a significant, very unfortunate event happening to me, it was very clear in the early months of 2022 that God was so also I'm a religious person. So you might think universe or anything like that. So I'm not trying to get churchy on you. This is just how I believe and how I think. And so take that however you feel comfortable, or however that you can relate it to you. But I was like, okay, God, universe, whatever you want to say, like, we're making space. We're clearing out some things, and doors are really being shut. And I don't see why yet. But something is coming. I could feel like something was coming. And so when I was going through these interviews, I was like, things were then starting to click. Things were starting to, it felt like the path was being illuminated. I was like, I think this is what all this shit that has been going down, and the doors being shut, and every time I was pummeled to the ground, like, this is what this was leading to. And so got through the trial. They loved it. I then got a interview with the CEO, which I also grilled him with questions, and I got accepted for the job. So to give you an overview of what I am a TikTok community manager. I will be helping to build their internal TikTok studio and be providing strategy and creation and managing the creators behind the TikToks that we're making for some pretty major clients. I'm very excited for the projects I'm going to be working on. They are based in New York. They're on Broadway, but I will only be going to New York like a couple times a year. Hopefully I'll be going up several times a year is like the hope in my head, but I will be going up at least 3 times a year. But I get to work from home in Charleston. A major factor in taking this job was they had unlimited PTO. And then I was very diligent in asking what unlimited PTO meant, but kind of in a professional way, because I think a lot of companies right now are sort of saying unlimited PTO, or throwing that terminology out there, and they're not actually owning up to it. but they are super flexible work environment. And when I went up there this week to meet my coworkers, it was for their Q2 on-site. So they flew everybody in. We even had somebody come from Portugal, and we all got to meet, and it just happened to be my first week of work. So that was super nice that my first week of work, I was actually able to start and be in office. Some people had started like a couple months before, something like that, and it was their first time actually meeting people in person. So that was really great. And but yeah, I get to work from home, and it's the best situation. I really, guys, it's been a hard couple years. And so this feels like all that work, all the way down to when I quit my job as a chemist, all the way down to when I was applying for jobs in marketing in my last year of college and nobody would hire me. Um, it feels like everything was culminating up to this. And so I'm super, super happy. And I'm very excited that I get to share that with you guys. But even more than that, I just wanted to kind of give you guys the inside scoop on what this has all looked like. And here's the interesting thing that I really wanted to talk about is the change in my mindset. So when I got the job acceptance, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna have a steady paycheck. And having a steady paycheck is a privilege. And it is a awesome thing that I will never take for granted again. And so not everybody, so many people like don't like their jobs, and that's totally valid. But that sense of security, you forget what like how good that feels until you don't have it. And so I have also been kind of going on a journey of re I guess programming my mind out of a scarcity mindset. And what I mean by that is, so when I got the job offer and it was accepted and we were signed and we were good, I got got rid of, that sounds like really harsh, but let go of my clients and let them know that I was not going to be doing social media services anymore. But with that, I then had this like business bank account that didn't really have a purpose. And so when you have your own business, you do have a separate bank account for your business, and you've got like I've got different accounts for taxes, operations, which is like or like operations expenses. So that's any of the programs that I needed to use for my business, or anything that I needed for my business came out operation expenses. We had a account for profit and an account for income. So whenever we got money, it would go into the income account, and then that would be dispersed between profit, operation expenses, and taxes. Well, taxes that need to stay in there, but I no longer had any operational expenses because I was no longer operating. Same with the profit. I had no need for a profit because we weren't doing that business anymore. So I liquidated the business, and I of course there was like savings in that, and we had cushions for the business. Hey guys, okay, so I have been in a coughing fit for like several minutes, and I cannot get through this episode. I'm glad I got to tell you guys about the job. So what I'm going to do is I want to tell you the story of liquidating my business and what I did with the money and the money mindset that changed when I all of a sudden had like a stable paycheck, and how I am going to be restructuring my finances. And we'll talk about kind of the financial stuff about that, because I think that's interesting. This will give you guys a chance to ask me questions about it as well. So head over to my Instagram or the Attainable Podcast Instagram and let me know what you want to know. Because I did liquidate my business and that was thousands of dollars. And so I'll give you the inside scoop on like what I did with that, why I did that, all that kind of stuff. But I cannot get like I even am having to take a break between this like little outro. So I love you guys so much. I'm so sorry that I am having to basically cut this off short, but at least I got to tell you guys all about the job. I'm super, super excited, and I will be sharing a bunch with you guys. If you have any questions, like I'm an open book. And yeah, I love you so very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.